Good morning students, this is Priya, your science teacher. In this video, I will be explaining you the chapter number 11 of your NCERT textbook, that is transportation in animals and plants. In this chapter, we will study the transportation or the circulatory system and the excretory system in animals or humans and plants. So firstly, let's start the circulatory system in humans. The circulatory system in human beings mainly consists of three basic components, that is blood, blood vessels and heart. These components together constitutively form the circulatory system of our body. So let us understand one by one all of these components. Firstly, what is blood? As you all know that blood is a connective tissue, or it is a type of fluid which flow in the blood vessels. It transports the substances like the digested food from the small intestine to the other parts of the body. It carries oxygen from the lungs to the cells of the body, and it also transports the waste for removal of the waste from our body. Blood is generally a liquid which has different types of cells suspended in it. So the blood basically has three types of cells. The one type of blood cell are the red blood cells, that is RBCs, which contain a red pigment called the hemoglobin. Hemoglobin binds with the oxygen present in our blood with and ultimately to the cell. It will be difficult to provide oxygen efficiently to all the cells of the body without the hemoglobin. So the presence of hemoglobin, it makes the blood appear red in color. This is the one type of cell that is present in our blood, that is RBCs. The second type of cell that is present in our blood are WBCs, that is white blood cells. These bloods, they fight against the foreign material that enters in our body. Hence, they provide immunity to our body. The third type of cell that are present in our blood is platelets. Platelets, these are special types of cells that consist of clotting factors, and hence they are responsible for the blood clotting in case of an injury. Next is the blood vessels. There are different types of blood vessels present in our body. As you all know that during inhalation a fresh supply of oxygen fills the lungs, and during exhalation the impure supply of air has to be exhaled out. So oxygen has to transport the rest of the body, the fresh supply of air. Also the blood picks up the waste materials including the carbon dioxide from the cells and then transport it to the lungs for the exhalation for the removal of the waste products. So blood vessels, there are three types of blood vessels, that is arteries, capillaries and veins. Firstly, we will let's study about the arteries. Arteries, they carry the oxygen rich blood from the heart to all the parts of the body. All the arteries, they carry the pure or the oxygen rich blood except the pulmonary artery, which carry the deoxygenated blood or the impure blood. Since the blood flow is rapid and at a high pressure, the arteries have thick elastic walls. Next blood vessel is capillaries. On reaching the tissues, the arteries, they divide further into extremely thin tubes that are known as capillaries. These capillaries generally filter the blood and transfer the oxygen to the different cells of our body. Then the capillaries, they join up to form vein which empty into. The next type of blood vessel is veins. The veins are the vessels which carry carbon dioxide rich blood from all the parts of the body and back to the heart. You should know that all the veins, they carry the impure blood except the pulmonary vein which carry the pure blood to the heart. The veins generally have thin walls, and there are walls present in the vein walls which allow the blood to flow only towards the heart. So these are the three different type of blood vessels that are present in our body. The next is the pulse rate. Pulse rate, it is very simple. The number of beats per minute is called the pulse rate of a particular person. So how many pulse beat could you count in your body? You can count the pulse rate can be found in any of your body parts. For example, the wrist of your body. You can count the pulse rate of your body around the wrist, and that is or the place behind your thumb. So the number of beats per minute, it is called the pulse rate. A resting person usually, or a normal person usually has a pulse rate between 72 to 80 beats per minute. That means his or her heart can beat 72 to 80 times per minute. The next component of the circulatory system is heart. It is the most important part of our circulatory system. The heart is an organ which beats continuously to act as a pump for the transport of blood and various other substances to all the parts of the body. The heart is located generally in the middle of our chest cavity with a lower tip slightly tilted towards the left side. The heart generally contains the 4 chambers, that is the 2 upper chambers are the atria or the atrium, and the 2 lower chambers, these are called the ventricles. So let us understand the flow of blood in our heart and the structure of the heart. This is the structure of a human heart. The human heart consists of these components, as you can see in the picture. This is the vena cava, this is aorta, pulmonary artery, pulmonary vein, left atrium, left ventricle, on the left side of the heart there is vena cava, right atrium and right ventricle. So let us understand the flow of blood in a human heart. As I told you that the heart has 4 chambers, right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle and left ventricle. These 4 chambers, they are divided by a partition that is called a septum. The heart mainly consists of 4 chambers. In the right atrium and right ventricle, it basically consists of the impure blood, and the left atrium at left ventricle, it consists of the pure blood. So this is the vena cava. Vena cava is of 2 types, that is superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. The superior vena cava, it collects the impure blood from the upper part of the body, that is brain and spinal cord and neck area and shoulder area, and this inferior vena cava, it collects the impure blood from the lower parts of the body. These both vena cavas, they enter into a single vena cava and they drains the impure blood into the right ventricle. They drains the impure blood into the right atrium. This right atrium, it drains this impure blood to the right ventricle. Then this impure blood, it goes through the pulmonary artery to the lungs for the purification. As I told you that all the arteries, they generally carry oxygen rich blood except the pulmonary artery which carries the impure blood to the lungs. So the pulmonary artery, it transfers the impure blood from heart to the lungs for the purification. Then after the purification, the pure blood, it returns to the heart from the lungs through a blood vessel called the pulmonary vein. As I told you that all the veins generally carry the carbon dioxide rich blood except the pulmonary veins which carry the pure blood. So this pure blood, it enters into the left atrium through the pulmonary vein. This left atrium, it pumps the pure blood to the left ventricle. Then this left ventricle, it pumps the pure blood to the various organs of our body through the aorta. So generally aorta is the biggest blood vessel that transfers the pure blood to the to the rest of the body or to different cells or different parts of our body. So this is how the blood flows from the heart to the lungs and to the lungs to the heart. So this is generally the circulation of blood in human body. The next is the heartbeat. The walls of the chamber of the heart are made up of thick muscles. These muscles, they contract and relax rhythmically. So this rhythmic contraction, they followed up by its relaxation, constituting a heartbeat. Remember that heartbeat constitute every moment of our life. If you place your hand on the left side of your chest, you can feel your heartbeat. The doctors can feel your heartbeat with the help of an instrument which is called a stethoscope. As you can see in the diagram, this is the picture of a stethoscope. The doctor uses the stethoscope as a device to amplify the sound of the heart. It consists of a chest piece that carries a sensitive diaphragm, the two ear pieces and a tube joining the parts. Doctors can get clues about the condition of your heart with the help of this. So that's all about the circulatory system or the transportation in human beings. The next is the important part, that is the excretory system in the human beings. As the impure blood, it goes to the kidneys for the excretion. So let us understand the excretory system of human beings. This is the basic diagram of the excretory system in humans. In humans, the excretory system consists of two pair of kidneys, one pair of ureters, the renal artery, this is the renal artery and this is the renal vein. The renal artery, the renal vein, it brings the impure blood to the kidney, and renal artery, it brings back the pure blood to the rest of the body for the use. And it also consists of a urinary bladder and then the urethra, which transfers the urine. So this is the excretory system in human beings. The waste which is present in our blood has to be removed from the body. So how can this be done? A mechanism to filter the blood is required. This is done by the blood capillaries present in the kidneys. When the blood reaches the two kidneys with the help of the renal vein, it consists both useful and harmful substances. The useful substances are absorbed back into the blood, and the waste dissolved in water are removed as the urine. From the kidneys, the filtered urine, it goes into the urinary bladder through ureter, which contains water and salts. Then this urine, it reaches into the urinary bladder. Until the urinary bladder is fully filled, the receptors present in the urinary bladder, they send a signal to the brain, and the brain reverts back the signal to the urinary bladder for the excretion of urine. So this is the mechanism of excretion in our body. A normal human body can excrete 1.8 liters about urine in a 24 hours. Urine generally consists of 70% of water, 25% of urea, and rest of the content, it contains some salts. So that's all the transportation and the excretory system in human beings. Next is the transportation in plants. The transportation of substance in plants. In plants, they generally take water and mineral nutrients absorbed from the soil through the roots and transport it to the leaves with the help of a connective tissue that is called xylem. Xylem is a type of connective tissue used for the transportation of water and solutes in the plants. The leaves, they prepare food for the during the photosynthesis, and they transport this food to the roots with the help of a connective tissue called the phloem. So phloem, basically it is the connective tissue that translocates the food particles. Next is the transportation of water and minerals. This is the diagram. This is the internal section of the root hair or the xylem tissue. The plants, they absorb the water and minerals by the roots. As I told you, the roots generally have root hairs. These root hairs, they increase the surface area for absorption of the roots, and the water and mineral nutrients, they dissolved in water present in the root hairs, and then they are transported via xylem to the different parts of the plants. So this is the transportation occurs in plants. The last phenomena, that is known as transpiration. The some part of water that is absorbed by the roots is used up by the plants for in the process of photosynthesis, but maximum part of the water that is absorbed by the roots get used up in the process of transpiration. Transpiration is the evaporation of water from the surface of the leaf in the presence of sunlight. So when this water droplets, they evaporates in the environment, this creates a suction pull which is helpful in translocating the water from roots to the leaves. So this is the transportation or the excretion system in the plants. That's all with your chapter. I hope you have understood it very well. Thank you.